Blessings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, I thought I would take this beautiful opportunity to record a podcast outside. Got my bum on the earth, got a bit of gentle morning sunlight, and had a little gap in which I felt a lot of inspiration to share a podcast episode. And the theme, the focus is on marriage and why I decided to become a marriage celebrant. Please excuse if the sound is muffled with wind. There's a bit of a sea breeze. Enjoy the magpies. I'm surrounded by magpies. Apparently there's been a few swoopings lately, a few damaged eyes, so blessings to the magpies. may I be safe. I love the magpies, but yeah, you got to keep your wits about you. Why I became a marriage celebrant. I've had reoccurring conversations with people lately. People asking about my relationship with Joe and this beautiful recognition of how happy we are together, which we are. I'm so grateful for that enduring, evolving, deepening of our joy together. And also I think what's adding to it is just in a few days, we will be celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. And simultaneously, we are witnessing a lot of married couples deciding to get divorced, which is totally understandable, and I get it, So I'm not speaking of this from a naive or arrogant place, just from a place of curiosity and storytelling, and just sharing my journey as to what brought me to this place of becoming a marriage celebrant. Because it's a bit of an interesting journey. Up until meeting Joe and then Ramdas marrying us, I actually was quite against marriage. I had many people, as I was growing up, just witnessing my parents break up and witnessing many parents, many couples break up. And just hearing the narrative here in Perth, I never left Perth until went on a beautiful Melbourne trip with my dad and my brother for an epic grand final weekend in Melbourne. And when I was, I think, 19, went over to Bali with friends. But until then, I had never left Perth, Western Australia. And neither had my dad. So he and many folks, with Perth being so isolated, kept hearing like the narrative, never get married, never settle down, just travel, just be free. So I had that deep in my conditioning. And that's how I lived. That's really how I lived. I had a fear of commitment that I wasn't even aware of until later, and just wanted to travel. And I'm so grateful that I had the karma and the opportunities to travel. I spent most of my 20s traveling, and it was a beautifully soul-discovering, rich time of really finding myself beyond my cultural conditioning, beyond my hometown norms. So just packed my bag, took off on quite a few solo trips, and it was a great time. And then of course came my yoga life around about age 20. While I was traveling, it started to come into my life. And it was common suit for yogis to also be living this life of either being, the kind of neo-tantric freedom of polyamory, or the traditional classic yogic path of renunciation, which is more the direction I was going into, this real yogic renunciation. And it felt very natural. It felt very, I was, of course, my main teacher being Ram Dass. I was inspired and continue to be inspired with his life, but he didn't get married. He had his path. He was devoted to Maharaji and seva, of serving the worldwide community. And so that was quite interesting. I was very much, from my kind of renegade skateboarding, kind of punk, grunge, raver, anti-establishment teenage years, which then carried through to more the tantric and bhakti and yogic renegade, anti-establishment perspective, which wanted nothing to do with kind of signing a marriage certificate and commitment. I wanted nothing to do with that. I wanted freedom, baby. So it was so interesting when I met Joe, and then we had a epic union without us seeing it coming at all. End of 2012, 21st of December, end of the Mayan calendar. We were sitting in ceremony together with plant medicine. And in that ceremony was a vivid, undeniable, blissful recognition. And this is very hard to describe because it truly is indescribable, psychedelic, mystical. It's another plane of consciousness, multiple planes of consciousness. So, but I'll do my best to describe it. In that long ceremony, and possibly some of you dear friends, some dear friends of mine were there with us, and they witnessed it and have been a part of the whole journey, the whole unfoldment. So during that ceremony, this undeniable vision and feeling of unconditional love for Joe got revealed. And it was life-changing. And not only was there that of, wow, you are my beloved, but I also had undeniable visions of our family, of, it wasn't literal, linear, painting the picture of every chapter of our life. It was more a symbolic and feeling. A vision, yes, of our family, of us together, but it's hard to describe why it is so undeniable, because it's going beyond the analytical mind, beyond the logical, rational mind, more into a both somatic but also mystical, psychedelic feeling. So I got the call, as did Joe, and we took the call, we picked it up, and a month later she was pregnant with Soleil. So, boom, end of the Mayan calendar. That was the end of who I thought I was. Boom, done. Catapulted into family life. Pretty much straight away, living with Joe. She's pregnant. We're taking care of her parents who were dying. And that first year together, in combination with that mystical experience, that psychedelic experience, I am still integrating that. I'm still growing into it, okay? In beautiful ways. Sometimes it tests me and I feel a clunky, uprising of my old conditioning, and thank God for the yoga and the tantra and these practices and all the great teachers I've had, and thank God for how patient and wise Joe is, because we keep helping each other out. We keep walking each other home, as Ram Dass said. We keep growing together, and I'm so humbled and grateful for that. So that psychedelic experience changed everything. And then a couple years after that, again, coming on in a few days, we'll be celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. And so a couple years later, after working with Ram Dass one-on-one online, I asked him if he would marry Joe and I. So we go over to Maui, and we're with Ram Dass, and he married Joe and I. And he even said, like, I don't know why you want me to marry you, not during the ceremony, but in the lead up. It's not how I did it, Ram Dass said. I didn't get married, but here we are. I'm about to marry you. So he said, you are on a tandem path to God, you and Joe, you and Lakshmi. You are on a tandem path to God. And he gave us our blessings. So that further planted seeds of the yoga of relationship and what it is to consciously marry someone else. And this marriage ceremony with Ram Dass, him marrying me and Joe, was so simple, so simple. He was very frail, so he gently suggested, not many people. Can we please not have many people? It was in his home. So we just brought over my mum. Joe's parents had died by then. In retrospect, I do feel bad not having my sister, my brother, and my dad there. That would have been extra beautiful, but it felt really important to be married by Ram Dass. It really did. And then, of course, actually, where I am right now recording this is where we had our kind of marriage party. After we came back from Hawaii, we got friends together. We gathered at Cott Civic Center and we had a little party. So that was like the wedding reception, you could say. So we all did get together eventually. But this moment with Ram Dass, him marrying us, was so sublime, so simple. Just Joe and I in the vibe of Soleil was with us. Yeah. She's a couple years old by then. So beautiful, so sweet. My mum was with us. And then there's Ram Dass and beautiful Dasi Ma assisting. And I think Lakshman, big shout out Lakshman, he was there doing some harmonium and some mantra. Exquisite. That marriage ceremony and the coming together in the psychedelic experience, the plant medicine journey, really has formed the foundation of our relationship. So if ever, whenever, Joe and I are having a bad day and it's a bit clunky, maybe very clunky, and maybe communication pathways aren't as open as they could, and we're not at our best. We're not at our best. Of course, we take accountability for it. We give each other a loving nudge to, hey, come on, back to the heart. Come on, back to the heart, back to love. We hug it out, we make love, we talk about it, and we keep growing together. It's beautiful. But those experiences of both that marriage with Ram Dass and of course the continued work with Ram Dass and the integration of that plant medicine journey really has formed the foundation of our relationship. So when things get, sleepy or neurotic or clunky, we have that spiritual experience to lean back on, which really does prevent us from projecting our shit we need to work on. It prevents us from projecting that onto each other, which is huge. It's huge. And I know we can all cultivate that. Maybe you're not feeling called for the plant medicine psychedelic experience. That's not what I'm saying. Please know that. It's not for everyone. You really got to feel the call. And we did. We were doing a lot of it in those years from 2009 to 2012 and had done a lot of work, a lot of yoga, a lot of growth and development, and a lot of preparation for the plant medicine journey. It wasn't going into maybe a bit of naivety, a bit of naivety can be beautiful, but we were doing the work, okay? So I'm not saying it's the holy grail and all couples should do it and it's going to make for a beautiful, coherent, thriving relationship. For some, it may not. For some, it may reveal the truth that, oh, holy shit, we're actually not meant to be together, okay? Right? So just note that if you're like, okay, that's what me and my lover need. We need a psychedelic experience together. Maybe, but maybe not, okay? So that's up to you and your discernment and your karma and just your unfoldment of life now. But that was our path, and we're not here to copy each other's paths. But it did inspire over the years for me to become a marriage celebrant. And it's still new for me. I've only done a few weddings, and I'm not actively advertising it, and I'm actually not interested in just kind of doing your typical wedding. I'm actually really not interested in that. It's beautiful to have a big old party and to have everyone together and to celebrate. But I've just seen too many weddings where the anxiety and the need to please everyone else detracts from the real sacred ceremony of coming together and having a potent spiritual experience of coming together. So what I'm really passionate about is setting the vibe for a sacred ceremony to come together, heart to heart, full transparency, full declaration, full commitment, and to show up and really create a kind of rite of passage. And yes, celebration, but all the theatrics and neuroses that tend to get involved in pleasing everyone else. And this is big. Ram Dass would often say, you think you're enlightened? Go hang with your family. So it's big when we get all our family together, and it can bring up a lot. It can bring up a lot, which is awesome. For your wedding, maybe bring your whole family together. That's the way most people like to do it. But maybe it will magnify old aspects of your mind, old fears, old doubts. Awesome. That's where the yoga is, right there. Can you penetrate it? Can you rise above it? Can you grow in that moment? You can. And I feel really called to support people in that precipice, in that moment of potential, of rich growth and development. and to commit to your beloved. Yeah. Okay. So again, it's not about signing that piece of paper and giving up your power to the establishment. It's not about that. It's about committing to your beloved and being on this tandem path to God. It's a beautiful path. And when I look at the old me, and many of us in the spiritual community, we're looking for freedom from. Yeah, so we the classic path is to limit intimate relationship because we feel it will stifle and constrict our freedom. Yeah. But when we are with our beloved, and it's truly the beloved, yes, things can get challenging. Yes, things can plateau. Yes, after that first, what is it? I've even forgotten the term. What is it? The honeymoon period. Things will normalize, yeah? Things will normalize, but that is beautiful. Like Jack Cornfield's book, it's quite well known, Ecstasy, then the laundry. I might have gotten the title wrong, but it's along the lines of ecstasy, then the laundry. So as things normalize and you live together for a while, yeah, you got to do all the mundane stuff, the laundry, the packing of lunches, the school drops and pickups. But they are all beautiful, okay? And it just seems there's a reoccurring pattern in the collective. We have that honeymoon period. It's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time. And we live together, we start to get to know each other more. Yeah. And then maybe we get married. Yeah. And then that's that next level of growth and development. That is often when couples choose to separate. Yeah. After that, those few kind of quote unquote milestones, like, oh God, who am I with? And then what we're seeing a lot of, if they haven't separated during that initial stage, like, oh, I'm actually not with the right person. Later on, after the kids have grown up a bit. So Joe and I are seeing a lot of couples separate now that the kids have grown up a little bit. And it's like that next, like, oh, yeah, you're not the person, for me. Which, total respect, I get it. This is not a judgment. This is not judgment, I get it. But when we're individually as, husband and wife, or husband and husband, or wife and wife, or non-binary, when we are doing our own inner work, yeah, so we've got to have our own inner work, whether that is therapy, whether that is yoga, whether that is tantra, whatever it is, we've got to have some kind of path that is tending to our own self. Yeah. Again, to limit the projecting of our own shit onto the other, which is very easy once you get comfortable with each other, once you've been living with each other for a while. It's very easy for it to get messy and for us to project our own shit onto the other. Yeah? But if we are tending to our own heart and we're continuing to evolve, grow and develop and awaken, marriage is so beautiful. And it truly is the most psychedelic thing I've ever done. And I've done some serious psychedelics. I've been in some very psychedelic, mystical experiences. But just the day-to-day happenings, school drops and school pickups and getting ready for the day and lying around, hanging out, reading a book, watching movies, or way back changing nappies and sleepless nights and all of that. So trippy and enriching. Yeah. I'm not saying that's for everyone as well. No, if you're not feeling the call for kids and family life, I get it. I wasn't feeling the call either, though. Okay. But yes, as Joe and I talk about it a lot, of really feeling this call to support people during those transitionary periods and support in those clunky periods, and to help them grow and develop through life's challenges. Yeah. Because for many of us, we haven't had a great guidance, a great scaffolding for how to do it well. And we don't either. We don't either. It's more mentorship and candid conversation, and just, we got your back. Just like Joe and I got your back, babe. Like, I got your back. We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. I got your back. You know? Unconditional love. Unconditional love. And ways to fortify and support our inner energy, our mind, our nervous system, our heart. So then we're not so reactive when shit gets testing. Yeah? We can sit in the fire and continue to grow. When we're not tending to our own practice, for many of us in our day and age, we've just got nothing left. In our day and age where we don't have a village assisting in raising the child. Yeah. Many of us, we're either doing it solo or we're doing it just the two of us. That's mainly been the case for Joe and I. Thankfully, we've got my mum, but beautiful Papa Bear, he passed away a couple years ago. He was very helpful. Joe's parents, they passed away very early on in Soleil's life. And we get that family contact with the kids, being present for the kids, is so important. It's massive. And we can't offer that out. Yeah? We just can't. Having a nanny, having multiple nannies, I get it. It's a beautiful privilege, and I totally understand. And we probably would if we could afford it. But it's not in our budget right now. And it's actually not a priority. We would rather spend that money on other things. Yeah? Other things. Good, healthy, the best food out there. That's where most of our money goes, on the best nourishing food. And then we sacrifice. Yeah? Healthy sacrifice is a virtue, Being less selfish, and family life being a path of yoga, the seva, So grateful. Time. Yeah. Many of us waste our time, and we're leaking out our time and our energy through these devices. And I'm hearing that a lot with couples, of these phones actually playing a big part in destroying people's relationships. Truly. Hear that one out. Take a good look at that one. Many couples have opened up about that, and it's been a big addiction to face with accountability and compassion and love. It's the phone and the algorithm should not become more interesting than looking into your beloved's eyes, right? Than making love with your beloved. Masturbating to porno should not be more enjoyable than making love to your lover. And that's not a far out statement. We've met many people where that is their experience. The porno is more enjoyable than actually making love with their lover. Yeah? So we got to check out these, they're kind of becoming like pathologies, you know, and not take it personally. You're not the only one if you're like, holy shit, I'm doing all that. To see it for what it is. We're all going through this together. It's a collective thing, you know? And we can reconnect with our humanness, with our primal desire and needs and our aliveness, but we got to restore and fortify our vitality. And this is one way. This is why I'm outside right now, because I'm going to be indoors for I was indoors for the day prior to now. I'm going to be indoors after this with clients and in cars and stuff. Getting outside. I keep harping on about it. But light, water, magnetism, breath, sound, to reinvigorate our life force. Because for many of us, we are leaking it out constantly, and then we get home to be with our family and we got nothing left to give. We got nothing left to give. And then it's very tempting just to get sloppy, slob out, and just scroll, yeah, and get that kind of dopamine hit after dopamine hit, that little bit of pleasure via the phone. So again, these things are crucial in going the distance in marriage, because it's seductive. When we are opening our heart as yogis, we will fall in love with many people because we've opened the heart to love. Like there, when we're paying attention, like just looking into the eyes of another person, soul to soul, like, I love you. And if we're not tending to the relationship with our beloved, things can get confusing then. And we will, especially, if we're just we've got that wandering eye and we're just kind of chasing that next high, and maybe things have plateaued in the relationship, and you gotta revitalize that. Otherwise, and you gotta keep your perception and your heart tended to. Otherwise, it's very seductive now to see the grass is greener on the other side. To see like, ooh, they're the one. And they might be, but if our prana is and our signals are fuzzy, we're probably not seeing things as clear as they actually are. Because as soon as we hook up with that other person, there will be our stuff and their stuff again. Yeah. Which brings me to the neo-tantric scene. I've met many people who thought they were polyamorous. They thought, yeah, this is the way. Just multiple lovers. But even in that dynamism and that passion, unless we got our shit together, it gets pretty messy. Just again and again, there's our stuff and there's their stuff. So it can be very messy. I haven't seen polyamory done well, ever. But I have seen multiple people that have sworn, this is my jam, polyamory is my path. But then they meet someone they really, really love. And then they commit to them and they get married. And then they're like, oh, no, I was wrong. This is actually lighting me up. This is it. This feels more natural. This feels more nourishing. This feels more beautiful. I've seen it many times. So I can't help but share that. You know? And if you've got polyamory down, yeah, I'd love to hear about it, because I just haven't seen it done well long term yet. Again and again I've seen polyamorous folks find the one and they're glowing, they're happy, they're grounded, So it is interesting. It is interesting. Yeah. So we each need our own sovereignty. Yeah? We each have the key to our own heart, which has been one of the inspirations of doing these workshop style, long format, immersives themed being love. Yeah? Shifting from needing love and like trying to be loving to, no, you've got the key to your own heart. Being love. And when we're individually uncovering that ultimate truth, and when we come together with another person that is also doing that, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And we can do it. We can do it. It just takes a bit of work. It takes a remembering to play. Remember to play with your lover, with your partner. You know, as you maybe have kids and you buy a house or you're renting, life gets stressful. Life gets stressful. We got to remember to play together. Because if our only mode of play is to go out with our mates and get pissed, or to go out with your girlfriends and do what you do, get your nails done, or shop, or work out, or walk the beach, or if you're only playing with your mates but you're not playing with your lover, we can very quickly forget that love and that joy and that play and that passion that brought us together initially. So we got to have a laugh together. We got to be able to play together. Yeah? So remember that playfulness with your lover. If you've got kids, with your kids, that tactile kind of roughhousing, hugging, play. They need that touch. They need that laughter. They need that play. We all need it, okay? And it's like, especially when shit's getting real and life is getting testing, you got to come back to play. And it's a weird little paradox, like when there's grief, when there's loss, when there's death. Of course, we need to mourn, we need to grieve, we need to feel all the feels. I'm not inviting denial or the spiritual bypass. But it's often in those deep, intense moments that reminds us to come back to play. Yeah. And we see that in parts of the world where things are very, very stressful. You see, it raises the stakes. People realize, like, holy shit, like, I might not be around tomorrow. So let's seize the day. Let's celebrate. Let's dance. Let's sing. Let's make love. We might not be around tomorrow. And we can easily forget that in many of the places we live. It's very comfortable, it's very privileged, and we can just kind of sleepwalk through life, can't we? And just expect our partner to be the same tomorrow and us the same tomorrow. And things can get boring. We gotta shake that loose, wake it up. Yeah. So something me and Joe do, and I'm not inviting drinking. I'm not. For those of you that don't drink alcohol, I get it. I go through periods where I don't touch it, long periods. But Joe and I do have a little ritual, you could say, of maybe on a Friday, kind of we've termed it Freaky Friday, or Sexy Saturday, or Sexy Sunday. Sometimes we get all three. We get Freaky Friday, we get Sexy Saturday, Sexy Sunday, in which we'll come together and have one or two, normally one. Very, very fine, organic, good quality tequila or mezcal. The agave spirits for us is where it's at in terms of alcohol. We don't touch anything else. I mean, every now and then maybe. a good beer or a good organic, unprocessed, like minimally processed, sulfate-free wine. Yeah. But clean alcohol, just one. And we'll get together, we'll have a chat, we'll put on some good music, we'll get sexy, we'll make love, we'll chat, we'll get creative. That continues to be so beautiful for us, so therapeutic. Because sometimes, Monday to Friday, it's busy between work and the kids and school and extracurriculum stuff. It's busy, and some weeks, Joe and I haven't connected that much. But then we make it's important to us, especially if it's been one of those weeks. When we're on holidays, it's different. It's kind of fun and playful and sexy every day. Yeah? But in the week-to-week flow, it's important. If we get to Friday and we haven't connected that much, it's like, okay, let's sit down. Let's have a little agave spirit together. So therapeutic. I think it really has been big. It's been important for us. We've got to connect. We've got to check in with each other. We've got to make love every week, at least once a week, okay? If every now and then a couple of weeks goes by, I get it. That's normal. But we gotta check that out if weeks have gone by, yeah. And we're starting to get the wandering eye. We're starting to watch porno. We gotta keep that in check. That can become a perpetual cycle that can accumulate and be quite destructive. Yeah? So I've gone on this tangent of our relationship and just the yoga of relationship, because this is what feels is required to go the distance in a beautiful, healthy marriage. Okay. So beautiful. And to those of you that are listening that are single, I thought I was going to be single. Like I said before, I thought that was it. And I do think what attracted Joe and I together, just further circling back into where I was before, is I was very content in myself being single. I was very sovereign, content, grateful, in love. I'd really unlocked that state of being love, being love. And I had, through the yoga practices and through the Ayurvedic living, I had purified myself very intensely, as had Joe, in which I had become quite, you could say, in a way, picky. I wouldn't just settle for anyone. And I'd become very sensitive in my senses. I could literally smell when someone wasn't mateable, wasn't my person. I could smell it, I could taste it, I could see it. My senses were so, and they still are, and it's a real godsend. It's an ally. It's something I'm so grateful for, because it helps me be loyal to Joe. I really do feel it does, because without a doubt, I'm surrounded by beautiful women in the yoga community. And Cam often used to just give me a little nudge back in the day when, teaching all these beautiful women and around many beautiful yoga teachers and just all that. Not that he was encouraging me to sleep with my students, no, it's not that, but just there were so many beautiful women around, and I wasn't with anyone, dating-wise and sexually, romantically, for years. And it was like, what are you doing? You've got all these beautiful women right there, and they want you. Just wasn't interested. I was so content, so in love, so in my heart, and so, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'd done a lot of work, and could smell like, no, this can't go any further. We'd have a date or we'd hang out and like, no, that's where it ends. There wasn't the taste, there wasn't the smell, which is legit. I've heard Andrew Huberman talk about that recently, of our sensory perceptions, and we've all got that, whether we know it or not. We're all picking up on that aroma. And, yeah, you're my person. Yeah, not to mention our gut biome. Yeah, and then I met Jo, who had kind of been on the same path. She'd been doing a lot of yoga, a lot of purification, and then I met her, and she smelled good, like deeply. I could smell her being. She tasted good. And of course, it was just yes, 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 multi-dimensional yes, which continues to this day. It's just that full body yes. You smell good, you taste good, you're delicious. That's huge. We want that inner feedback of like wanting to devour our beloved. Yeah. You taste good, you smell good, you look good, you feel good, even when you've just woken up from bed. That's like from sleep. That's when I think Jo is at her sexiest, actually, when she's just rolled out of bed. So that's a good sign. And we both call each other out when we are getting sloppy. Yeah? Lovingly call each other out, and we should be able to. If we feel like we're walking on eggshells with our beloved, it's time to dig deeper. So not that Jo and I are couples therapists, not at all. It's something else. This is the yoga of relationship, working with each other in a yogic way. So we're feeling that role emerging. We don't know how that's going to unfold yet, but I didn't know how this marriage celebrancy thing was going to unfold, and it just has. It just has. So it feels like, yeah, we are here to support in that way. As Jo and I kind of get to this 13 years of being together and 10-year wedding anniversary, and continuing to grow and develop, it just feels we can and are supporting in that way. And even baby blessings, we keep getting called to serve in this different style, this emerging different style of welcoming in people's babies. So I've done a bunch of baby blessings, which I love. Rather than just being a baby shower, which can be fun and it's beautiful, it's like, nah, let's go deep into a ceremony, into a beautiful, meditative, heartfelt experience of welcoming this baby into the world. So what a joy, what an honor, what a blessing. So please, I'm going to leave it at about that in a moment. In another, mid-December, I've got another workshop, Being Love. Invite you, I think there's 6 or 7 spots left for that. Warmly welcoming anyone and everyone to come to that. Again, whether you're single, with a partner, what we're doing is we're uncovering being love with our own self, with capital S self. It's not this narcissistic, perfectionistic, egoic loving ourselves. No, it's not that. It's not that at all. But falling in love with God, with life, with love, with being, which is good for our own well-being. Again, whether we're single or in relationship, it's going to serve in every aspect of our life. So please feel free to come to that if you're feeling the call. On Substack, I'll upload that onto Substack for our folks that aren't local in Western Australia. our winter retreat next August. That's just been updated. Cam and I are talking about another retreat we're going to collaborate on together, so keep your eyes out for that. A lot of you are asking about when will the next India retreat be. Probably in 2 years. Yeah. So stay tuned for that, but just letting the integration from our recent India retreat just really sink in before planning the next one. That's part of the way, that's part of the Tao, that's part of the yoga of not pushing these things, not rushing them, not pushing them. There's no need to hustle it. There's a deeper intelligence flowing. So I'm really learning to let go into that flow, let go into that pulse, that prana, that Tao, that flow. Big gratitude to the sponsors of this show. You continue to be amazing and really walk your talk. So look in the show notes for the sponsors of this show. What else? Yeah, so feel free if you or friends or anything like that, we're kind of in spring, summer, autumn, it's when a lot of people choose to get married. Feel free to spread the word that I am serving as an officiant, as a marriage celebrant, happy to serve. If people are feeling the vibe that I am serving, okay? We've got plenty of people doing it in other ways. This is just how I'm feeling to do it, okay? Inspired by Ram Dass. If you're feeling that way of getting married, or you know of friends that are feeling that inspiration, yeah, feel free to pass on my details. I'd be honored to talk with them and see if it's the right fit, okay? But for the most part, it tends to be, at this point, just friends and people in the community that know where I am at and what I'm doing. But yeah, it feels time to just spread it a little bit further. So feel free to spread the word. I'd be very grateful. Oh yes, later today, literally, day 1 of day 9 of the Gayatri Sadhana I've just launched on Substack. Really proud of that offering. It's a deep dive into the potency of the Gayatri mantra. And each day we dig into a different, you could say an element of it, a different vibe of it, in which it really goes all-encompassing from gross to subtle and practical as well. So feel free to hop on Substack, check out the 9 days of Gayatri Sadhana, and just before that was Joe's 7 days of inspiration. They both complement each other really, really well. And on top of that, we've got many offerings, from short meditations to longer 3-hour workshops and everything in between. Dharma talks with me and Joe, me individually, Joe individually. Have a look and continue that journey with us. I love you all. Much love. Be well. Until next time.